Well, hello everyone, I'm John McElroy and I am one of your hosts with the Florida Aviation Network, and it's really great to be with you all today. We are broadcasting live and in the clear from the Aerospace Discovery at Florida Air Museum. This is on the Sun and Fun complex in Lakeland, Florida, and we are here for the 44th annual Sun and Fun Fly-In and Exposition. And again, another incredible, glorious Central Florida magic spring day with clear skies, light winds, everybody's flying in, flying out. There's a bunch of activity. All kinds of people are going to show up today. It's a perfect day to get out here and hang out with all of your friends, your family, fellow pilots, wannabes, young, old, everybody in between. We're all going to have a great time together, and you should be a part of it too. Now, spending time with us here on the Aviation Network is going to be worth your while as well. We've got incredible guests, and today it's KT Budde Jpmes again. Thank you for being with us.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. I love being here.
Yeah, you know, we get to spend a lot of time together during these events, you know, on camera, and the stories that you and I talk about and the ones you tell, along with, you know, Sid, that other guy. But, you know, you are surrounded with so many great people. And tell me what's going on at Stallion 51 in Kissimmee. You're the marketing director and promotions.
Yes, promotions. I
wear many hats.
I wear many hats.
And headsets.
And it's true. I consider myself an ambassador, not only for Stallion 51, but also for the airport and for aviation. You know, if we don't go out and promote it and share it with people, it's going to die on the vine.
Which is what we're doing here today. You know, that's the point of being together. And so I want to hear about Stallion 51 and what it's been a banner year in 2017. Now we're in April 2018 and moving forward. I know a little bit about it, but let's share some of that with the audience.
Well, we really been riding the crest of that great year last year. 2017 was our 30th anniversary. And with that, we brought several of our graduates from our checkout training program came and helped us celebrate at Sun and Fun last year. We brought over 20 Mustangs here with us, so it was quite an event having them flying on the ramp. Everybody in the world was tuned in on it. So that was the start of this tsunami of news and events that occurred last year. And then from there, not only did we have that reunion of our pilots and have more checkout pilots we've had this year, it's been an amazing year of endless checkout programs that we've had, but then in July, we had Lee Lauterbach, our chief pilot and president and founder of Stallion 51, flew the North Atlantic route over to England with Berlin Express, the B model, and only B model as I understand, Mustang. And he flew it from Texas to New York, Maine, and then to Nova Scotia, then to Greenland, then to Iceland, then to Scotland, and then to Duxford, arriving on the 4th of July. How appropriate is that for an American plane to show up at the big Duxford extravaganza on the 4th of July? Now this journey, I want to say, took about 5 days, but it was eventful, and it followed the route that they did in World War II. And we were talking about that earlier, the Bolo mission, which was the B-17s escorting the fighters over, because if they put these planes and transported them to England on ships, the ships are being sunk. So they said, well, we'll go over the Great Circle route, the Nova Scotia, Greenland, Iceland, Scotland
And
route.
today we call those the blue spruce, because that's all you see. Our blue spruce, it's the blue spruce route.
Yes.
And
glaciers.
And glaciers. And
icebergs.
And I've done those crossings, you know, thinking about those kind of the men and women from the WASP that were escorting those P-51s across like you're talking about.
Yep.
What an incredible adventure.
It was followed by millions of people live on both Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. One Facebook post that I had had 100,000 people on it. We were updating like every half hour, because those crossings, those big open water crossings, are quite intimidating. And Lee had to have the survival suit on and have everything ready to go in case. And he did have a chase plane with a crew in it. One of his brothers, Richard Lauterbach, was along as well.
How about that? Well, you know, I've done that at 45,000 feet. I had short sleeve shirts. I reached over, grabbed a cup of coffee, and was just casually watching. I also took a stop motion film as we were passing Greenland, and I am here to tell you today there's nothing. There's just one airstrip in Greenland, and as you may know, Greenland is nothing but it's
not green.
And it's fjords and cliffs and glaciers and things like that. So it's New York. You said Gander. Is it Gander, Newfoundland, and then over to Greenland, then over to Reykjavik, Iceland.
Yep.
Then maybe Dublin, or can you make the?
They went to Scotland first.
So they jumped over from Reykjavik to Scotland. That's how apropos on that. And again, take a look on your charts and maps and see what kind of route that is. Great circle. It looks like an arc if you look at it one way, but if you take that string across the top, it's
a whole geography lesson in itself. So that was a huge thing in July. Now, again, that followed Sun and Fun, and I forgot to mention that Lee also during Sun and Fun got the Wright Brothers Award, Aviation Award for 50 years.
50 years of safe flying as a pilot. Wonderful. Yes. Congratulations.
And he'd also been part of the Test Pilot Association, had been inducted into the Test Pilot Association, and he was, I think it was Bob Hoover, before he passed, had put Lee's name, and you had to be
nominated for the right.
And so he had been put in, that was one of the
It's a really
honors.
great honor, of course.
Great honor. And then the Wright Brothers Award, that was quite an honor. And then, of course, the Berlin Crossing. And then at ICAST this year, he was honored with the Sword of Excellence, which is the highest award that a air show performer can achieve. And so it was Stallion's stellar year, without a doubt.
Awesome. I'm based in Kissimmee too, and I don't really see you at work very often, but I watch you from afar. Literally from, that's the view. If you look on your screen, that's what I see from the Southeast T hangars usually. He's not really doing a loop into the pattern, but he's definitely doing the high point break as they make their way back into
we do the
airport.
overhead break.
Overhead break, we see that constantly, and the tower is always very accommodating. And what a sight and sound that is every day that it's flyable. We watch you guys training. And let's talk about the programs that are available. That's always the famous. So if you own or operate a P-51, you have to come through Kissimmee and talk with Lee and your team. So who else is underneath? Of course, there's you, there's Sid, there's Doc. Let's go through all the names.
Stallion has a plethora, shall we say, of opportunities there. We have Stallion 51 that operates both the P-51 Mustang, the T-6 Texan, and the L-39. The Humbler.
The pilot Humbler.
It's true.
Yeah.
Just the other day, we had a fellow come in who was doing checkout training. He had a Mustang, and he wanted to really be safe. He also wanted his insurance to go down a little bit, because if you train with us, the insurance companies are very grateful for that. And after a couple of days, his instructor pilot said, you need a little more fine tuning. Let's put you back in the Texan for a day. And he spent a day with the pilot maker. Next day, got back on the Mustang. It all made sense. It's amazing. After 80 years, and of course, this is the Texan's 80th anniversary this year. 80 years, she is still the pilot maker. She's still the one that we say, if you want to fly a Mustang, get yourself in a Texan to get a couple hundred hours. The Mustang will be easy. Lee says, highest time Mustang pilot in the world, almost 10,000 hours in a Mustang.
Just in time and type.
He says the Mustang is a great trainer for the T6.
How about that? So I'm looking across at the hangar from the southeast to the northwest, over where Stallion 51 is located, just off the approach end of 15, if you've never been there. And you'll see a T6 and the P-51s depart and get onto the taxiway over there. And every once in a while there's a little flash. Well, what those are, they're nuclear blasts going off with a big aha moment. that the pilot, the student has just received. He goes, "Wow, I finally get it." You know,
I got it.
So the training is extraordinary. I know it because I can see it as an instructor. You can see the way the pilots are flying. You can see the way that they land. It's definitely something worth your time. If you've never had the opportunity to fly P-51, you can come over and talk with you and schedule it.
Yes, we do orientation flights. Not only do we do checkout training, but every day we offer the opportunity to share the cockpit with you. We have...
And it's just not just a flight either.
No,
this
it's
is
a whole
experience. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's almost a 3-hour experience from the time you arrive to the time you leave very happy.
Yes.
Because we have dual control, or dual cockpit, dual control Mustangs.
One of the few.
There's only about a dozen in the world, and we have 2 of them there, 2 crazy horses. And so we do a ground school, so we can tailor the flight to your experience, your expectations. We do a cockpit orientation, so you're not spending the whole flight looking for the airspeed indicator.
Right.
And it's hands-on. It's a complete set of controls front and back, so you're doing 95% of the flying. And then everything you say and do is being videotaped. After you land, we go through all of that with you, sort of reminding you which ones were Immelmans, which ones were split S's, reviewing the tape, and that tape or that video is yours to keep. And so you have a chance to really experience the plane firsthand in your hands. And people go away with a smile that just doesn't end. And of course that videotape, that recording of your flight, everybody sees forever and ever.
Did you guys catch that? I could see the stick.
Yeah, there it is, right
You were ready to go, weren't you?
Right there.
Yeah.
And we do the same thing with the T6. We also do T6 checkout training, but also our flights are orientation flights. Every one is a lesson in itself. So you can write it off, you can put in your log, and it's a history lesson as well. You don't just learn how to fly the plane or do the airbags, you learn to appreciate the plane and the history it came from. And then we have the L-39 turbojet, which also is available for flights. We do a lot of upset prevention and recovery training in that, both VFR and IFR. We have a whole program called UAT that shares that experience with corporate and business pilots, so they know what to do when things go wrong. That's the wrong time to be reading the manual going, okay, I'm upside down, I'm inside out, what do I do?
Yeah, there's no reading that manual. You know, and this is near and dear to my heart because we spend a lot of time in the high 40s in the world's fastest civilian aircraft. You know, with a high swept wing and you know, turbulence is not your friend when you're sitting on the head of a pin.
Mm-hmm. Stall in a heartbeat.
Well, it's more the role that comes with losing our yaw.
Yep.
The yaw damper. Let's say that's one of the failure modes. Man, you know, next thing you know, you start waddling back and forth like a duck.
Is that like a Dutch roll that you're doing?
Dutch roll is one of the components of it, and then the next thing you'll know, it's brown, blue, brown, blue, brown, blue. You know, and you need to know what to do. So I'm an advocate for that as well. If you're out there in my world as a business aviation pilot or a high performance aircraft, you know, even maybe you're into L-29s and the 39s and thinking about pylon racing or something like that. Mm-hmm. You know, come over and do the T6, do the P-51, then do the L-39, mm-hmm. Go up and do the upset training and get what's. I love those programs. You can tell I'm a fan, but more specifically, I'm a fan of their training. Of your training when it comes to the safety of flight.
Well, you'll only rise, you know, if the situation gets bad, you're only going to rise to the education that you have. That's right there in your mind and ready to go.
I don't know about rise. I think it's more you drop to that basic level, and because there's no, you know, you might talk about it afterwards, but yeah, you dumb down.
We all dumb down. I like that. We all learn from each other's mistakes. If there's a mistake or a learning situation, we call it.
Right.
Everybody sort of shares that, and we do a lot of recurrent training. People who are out flying their Mustangs for a year. Even some of the air show performers say, listen, I want to come back, I want to make sure I haven't picked up any bad mistakes. Even Lee and all of our pilots do recurrent training throughout the year to make sure we haven't picked up a bad habit along the way.
Everybody does BFR and 6158 recurrent, you know, and there's nothing like spending time with a great instructor. And I know that's true for Stallion. They're great training environment. But it's not just training. There's some other pieces.
Oh yeah, so, well we have AvDoc 51, which is Dr. William Bush. He is a senior FAA medical examiner. And his forte, without a doubt, is special issuance. if you come to him going, you know, the FAA sent me a letter, I'm done, I can't get my medical, and what, you know, and just beside themselves, he says, let's work on this. Doc knows what to do, when to do it, what they want, when they want, the order they want it in. That's the secret. Not necessarily that you've just been given, you know, your red
the denial
ticket,
or whatever,
but that they can be worked with if you know what they want. And sometimes people panic and they just start throwing, you know, stuff at them in the wrong order, and they go,
you need an advocate. Doc's
right.
the one to get
right.
on your team, isn't it?
Yes, he knows what paperwork they want, what tests they want, say in the order they want it, who to send it to. He performs miracles. Just the other day, we had, about a month or two ago, had a Rusty Pilot seminar, AOPA Rusty Pilot seminar at Stallion. One of the fellows that was attending went to Doc. He came in yesterday, grinned from ear to ear with his third-class medical.
Yeah, right.
They worked together. They did what was needed to be done. Doc also works with the HIMSS program, which is working with people who have alcohol or substance abuse issues, and now have gotten that letter from the FAA. And there's a whole program that he goes through that help these people not only for that moment to get flying again, but to get their life back on track as well.
And that's you know, Doc has really spearheaded that. It's near and dear to his heart,
yes,
no pun intended, because he really feels for those guys and really knows that he's making a difference. He can bring them back from the edge of,
yes,
you know, I'm ruined.
I'm ruined, that's right. And staying in the cockpit takes a certain amount of healthy choices to do so. And so he's a big advocate of, you know, if you want to stay flying, this is something you can do when you're not flying. You know, exercise, better diet, etc. Of course, do as I say, not as I do a lot of times. But
you know,
he'll do whatever. He advises people to make sure that they stay flying, because that's important to all of us. If we don't have people flying, aviation's going to go away. There's not enough of us out there flying to really change the tide of the public's opinion or the politician's opinion. But if we get everybody excited about not only flying, but being able to see people fly, see planes flying, come to air shows, that type of forte, of push by the public will keep those opportunities available to everybody.
Absolutely. What else is going on? I mean, I love that you've got this one-stop shop, so you can come in. Let's just say you can even fly in. You can park in right? You can fly in, get your medical, see Doc, come upstairs and see you.
Yep.
And
come and see all the planes. We also have Stallion 51 maintenance, which is Lee's twin brothers, Peter and Richard Lauterbach, do all the maintenance for Stallion. They are in the third hangar. So at any given time, you can go out there and you can see a Mustang being worked on, a Corsair being worked on, the T6. And nothing gets people more excited than seeing a cowling off. That does it. That gets everybody excited. And you can see what they're doing. When I post a gear swing, everybody just, I must get 40,000 hits, you know, at that moment.
Wonderful.
So that's going on. And then Lee's other brother, John, we call him Johnny 5, he does Group 51. And I call him basically a Mustang Yentl. He finds people who need a Mustang and matches them with people who are moving on from their Mustang. And so a lot of these very exclusive big iron planes never hit the market. He's just finding and matching them. He's the matchmaker.
Love it.
And that way they always find a new home that's appropriate to them.
Right.
We don't want
not
to see
just about
them
the
someplace.
sale. It's
right.
You got to find the right buyer too. You don't. That would just be a huge mistake and, and a waste of time, money, resources, and who wants to ruin a perfectly good airplane?
And a good airplane,
you know?
yes. We want to see them flying. So between the UAT program, Stallion 51 maintenance, AvDoc 51, the T6 program, and Stallion 51's orientation flights, and the checkout training, we got a lot going on all the time.
I know it. It's exciting. If you've never been to Kissimmee before, come on down to Central Florida one time and not only bring your family and maybe some of the kids or whatever want to go to Disney and do that whole thing, absolutely. But at the same time, don't forget the opportunity that's at Kissimmee International Airport right there with all the activity, especially the dominance of those aircraft sitting on the ramp, you know, right at the junction there with those three hangars. You come out, just standing next to the fence is one thing. And you guys have always had an open door policy,
Absolutely.
right? That's
We're
the other
open
thing.
Monday through Friday. Happy to have people come in and visit, look around, enjoy. You know,
don't
smell
hook your
some
fingers
avgas.
into the chain link. let go, walk through the door, come in and say hi to KT, and you know, begin experiencing what it's like to be around that environment. You know, I want to advocate welcome because I think that fence does more damage than it does good in terms of.
Yeah, we try to be safe as they ask us to be in this environment, of course, but we really are an open door.
Now,
we want people to get excited about aviation and realize that it's accessible. You know, the history, aviation and aviation history needs to be exciting and accessible in order for it to live on past the people who flew it. These people are going away, they're dying off, and if we don't keep that history going and keep it available, no one's going to be interested. So we consider ourselves sort of a campus of higher learning, all pun intended.
No, it's good. It's good. Yeah, and I'm thinking about the history. You know, it's a great topic, and tell us a little bit about the history of the aircraft. That, you know, not everybody has a P-51. How many are flying nowadays? Do you have an estimate?
Well, there's about, I want to give you big 50? Round numbers.
I think it's.
No, there's about 150 flying.
Oh, it's a lot.
Of the D models. There's like a B model out there, and maybe a couple C models. Not many, mainly D models, which are the beautiful canopies.
Right.
You know, the bubble canopies.
Bubble.
Which the Mustang came to the front lines in 1942. And the story goes that from the moment that the British said, you know, we need a better fighter, we love the P-40, it just doesn't have the range and it doesn't have the ability to fly at the higher altitudes, give us something. And from that moment to the moment they had the first prototype to fly, as the story goes, it was 120 days.
My goodness.
Now, we couldn't have a meeting in 120 days
and,
now, but they
was
did
North American always the builder of it?
Yes, North American,
yeah.
Yes. And now then, the first ones were going to have the Allison engine in it, and that wasn't going to be good enough. So that's when the Merlin, Rolls-Royce Merlin, and then we started producing them here in the United States because of what we did, what our forte was in World War II. Because the war wasn't just won on the front lines, it was won on the home front as well. Because we outproduced everybody. We took the might and the strength of this country that had been dormant, that had been sleeping during the Depression, woke it up, shook it up, and said, let's go, we got a war to win. And they did in massive amounts. And when they did that, Goering said, that's it, the war's over. When he saw that we could produce every 90 minutes, we could roll out a B-24 off the line by the end of the war, he said, it's over, the war's over.
We spoke to Larry yesterday with Panchito, you know, in the B-24. And then, so all these P-51s are rolling off the line, and today in 2018, there's about 150. Yeah. How many do you have?
Well, in the hangar at any given time, we probably have about a half a dozen Mustangs. There's some visiting, some snowbirds, but we have two TF models, which are the D models that have been converted, not changed necessarily, but converted into a dual cockpit, dual control. They used to have a 50-gallon tank behind the pilot, which actually during the war was removed. It just changed the CG.
Weight.
Oh, CG was terrible.
Yeah.
So that just became blank. Sometimes people put a jump seat back there, but what the TFs have done, started by Cavalier, and there were, as I understand, a couple during the war that were changed, but Cavalier did a lot of them, is they made the bubble bigger, took out that back area and put the whole set of controls in it, and raised the tail, the vertical stabilizer, about a foot. You'll see when you see a TF compared to a D model.
You just instantly spot that.
Yeah, you see the tail's about this much higher, bubbles bigger.
Right. And those are called, those are Crazy Horse 1.
And, Crazy Horse and Crazy Horse 2.
Crazy Horse 2,
and they're both built in 1944. They did not see combat, but they were built in the Dallas plant in 1944.
Is there another one?
Another Crazy Horse?
So there's two
TFs,
yes, and then the T6s. So
the T6,
what's the history of the TFs? What was their role in '44, and how
They were just here. They didn't go over to the European theater, nor did they do any Pacific theater where they accompanied the B-29s. So they stayed here in the States. Don't have a whole lot of information about them. Through the years, had been bought and sold to various people. One of them was a Reno racer for a while.
Really?
Yes.
That's incredible.
So they've had many lifetimes, shall we say. One that's really interesting is our T6, Thang we call her, because on the side it has THANG. Of course the ANG stands for Air National Guard, but she was territory of Hawaii Air National Guard. So she was stationed there prior to Hawaii become a state. During the Korea conflict, she's a G model, so she was converted from probably a D to a G model, 1949-ish, and stationed in Dillingham Field in Hawaii, which was a B-17 base.
That's a great story.
And there she is, Thang. She has a great history of herself, and Elliot Cross, the great Elliot Cross, who was an icon in T6 flying, had her for a number of years, and she's been with us, I'd say, a good 10 years, and still the school marm that she needs to be.
I love that, school marm. You don't hear that very often.
Well,
but,
she is, the tough kind that smacks you when you do things wrong.
I like it. The pilot maker and the humbler. There are two things I don't like in aviation. One is eating humble pie, and the other is serving humble pie. So, pilot maker, the humbler, the Thang. I like that. I think Thang should be the 2 G's, THANG for the G model, right?
That G model, absolutely.
I love it. Well, we just have a couple more minutes left. I want to talk about how people can connect with you. So we've had a great time talking together. I always love doing that with you. You know that. I'm a big fan of you.
Oh, thank you.
Poor Sid's got some competition here, but the things that you're up to, and with Stallion 51 and all those divisions, all those funnels and channels and things that are going on, to connect with you and the team there, and to meet the guys, they can physically come to the facility,
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Tell us some other ways to connect with you.
Well, of course, we have our website, which is brand new. I'm so glad you asked. It reminded me. We are launching a brand new website that is going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? iPad, iPhone compatible. What's that word I'm looking for?
Mobile friendly.
Mobile friendly, that's the word.
Yeah.
It hasn't been mobile friendly, and now it will be. It's going to have new videos. It's going to have more pictures, lots of background information, history. It's launching right now during Sun and Fun, so I'm so glad you mentioned that.
It's
much friendlier, so you can get on there, see all about Stallion 51, and actually connect with us, because you can send us an email from that site. Also, we have Mustang at stallion51.com is our email. We, of course, are at the phones all the time, and people call and say, how can I give a flight or take a flight? We offer personalized gift certificates to people, so that ultimate Father's Day or Mother's Day present, Valentine's, birthday, Christmas, we offer those, so you have a gift certificate for that person that they can enjoy. There's so many ways that you can connect with us, and also by coming to see us Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 or 5 p.m. Come see the action.
Mustang51.com, is that correct?
Stallion51.com.
Okay, let me get it right. Stallion51.com. Great, and
new
then
website.
Go to the website. It's progressive and mobile friendly, so you can watch videos, connect with Lee and KT
and the pilots. If you had questions,
right?
You
just
can
throw it
connect
out
with
there.
the
They'll
pilots.
get back to you. Get on their newsletter so you can stay in touch.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And
we're on Facebook
as well as the social media scene. So Facebook, do you do Instagram too? Is Stallion 51 is just keep searching that out on the web.
Yeah,
and
we're
taking
everywhere,
a peek. Yeah.
and we'll come up first most of the time.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, it sure has been a pleasure being with you. I think we're going to wrap it up at this point and take it back out to the air show, out to the field. So, everybody, this is John McLeroy reporting for the Florida Aviation Network. I've been spending time with KT Jones from Stallion 51, and I hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.